Let's take a look at our lineup today here on The Now. And teachers who say they were promised they'd have their student loans wiped clean are now stuck with tens of thousands of dollars in debt. Why they're blaming the education department for that. And it can be frustrating to get kids to eat, but this viral video is raising questions and concerns about how families should respond to picky eaters. And calls for safe places for people to use drugs like meth and heroin are growing. Supervised injection sites are widely used in other countries. We're looking into the debate over allowing them here in the United States.
Thank you, Chris. I'm Amanda Starantino, and you're watching The Now Indy on RTV6. A safety hazard on the northwest side. Trees are growing into the roadway there. A stop sign is even blocked. Working for you, RTV6's Stephanie Wade is looking into if this is a private property issue or the city's responsibility.
Families feel the trees and brush are growing into the roadway, even blocking this stop sign here behind me, making it difficult to see.
That stop sign that's there, you used to be able to see about halfway down the block, and now you have to be almost there before you can actually see it. Driving
down 56th Street, just off of Grandview Drive on the northwest side.
Well, it can be a little bit frightening at times for the simple reason that the growth has started to come out over top of the roadway. And if you try and pass two cars at certain points on there, it's impossible. So someone has to yield.
Robert Yost says it can be difficult. The vegetation he's referring to is located next to the Highland Golf and Country Club and says it didn't always look like this.
It was really pretty and very nice. They had some nice flowers there and nice bushes. And over the years, the trees have taken over.
Neighbors tell me they've resorted to trimming the trees themselves. The golf course says they've maintained the greenery there in the past. They're going to have their superintendent check it out now. But part of the property is in the public right-of-way, which is the city's responsibility. The city says they'd have to send a surveyor out to determine the boundaries for sure, but vegetation maintenance is typically on the property owner.
The golf course has been a good neighbor. I don't want to imply that they haven't been. They've been very, very good over the years, and I know money's tight and things are tight, so it's a bit understandable, but on the other hand, it would be nice to be able to see this cut back.
Stephanie Wade, RTV6.
Thanks, Steph. And the city says when it comes to public signs being obstructed, DPW recommends people report that to the Mayor's Action Center. That way someone can inspect the issue and decide what to do next. We will stay on top of this to see if the problem does get resolved.
And maybe you got some weekend travel plans. Checking out the view now from the Indianapolis International Airport. You can see that we've got a plane coming in there for Indy for the weekend here. Well, it's going to be a great weekend to just stay here at home and check out the waterway right now. Morse Reservoir. Seen a few boats out there this afternoon, and I'm sure the water is going to be very busy this weekend as we are expecting pretty much dry weather and that heat to continue to build here a little bit. 85 right now in Indy, 84 in Bloomington, Muncie, and Kokomo. Greenwood leading the way there at 87 degrees. Our wind has been fairly light today, but out of the north, and that's been bringing in that less humid air that we've enjoyed the last couple of days. Storm Team 6 radar give you the big picture here because all across the Ohio Valley things are nice and quiet, and that leads into our weekend forecast here. If you're going to be out there this evening, temperatures upper 70s for you by 8 o'clock, lower 70s at 10, and our sun setting at 9:14. Chris?
Big news out of the nation's capital today. Labor Secretary Alexander Acosta is stepping down. He's facing criticism over how he handled the 2008 plea deal of billionaire Jeffrey Epstein. Epstein's accused of sexually abusing dozens of girls. Acosta was the U.S. attorney in Miami when Epstein faced similar charges 11 years ago. Now, the floodgates are closed in New Orleans as the city is bracing for Barry. People in low-lying parts of Louisiana are evacuating, and rescue teams and the National Guard are stationed across that state with boats getting ready for the storm. Chris Welch joining us from New Orleans.
This was the scene Wednesday as rainwater flooded the streets, just barely seeping over the doorstep of the Aero Cafe.
The wakes of the cars was pushing water in.
But that may have just been a preview of what's to come.
I don't know what's going to happen. I think we're going to get a lot of water in the city.
Co-owner Sarah Corsiato won't leave town, but she is staying with friends to be closer to the coffee shop.
Try to be open as long as I can.
But when the time comes...
Oh, dude, I'm going to tough towels and duct tape them.
Nearby, some historic French Quarter businesses putting out sandbags.
Yes, Barry is expected to strengthen into a hurricane, but it's not the high winds that have residents and officials worried. It's the large amount of water. Take a look behind me. This is the Mississippi River, already strained from a season of flooding.
The number one threat is going to be water, is going to be the flooding and the heavy rainfall.
The Mississippi River this time of year is usually at 6 to 8 feet, but right now sits at 16. In a forecast calling for 15 inches of rain here, 25 inches elsewhere. Even visitors are taking this one seriously.
No, it's no joke.
You don't want to take chances?
Absolutely not, no. Yeah.
After a trip to the store, Jacques Desormier and his friends now have the essentials.
So water, we have a bunch of nuts and things that we can cook and eat without electricity.
And are ready to hunker down.
You think you're going to stay?
Yeah, most likely.
So while some tourists stocking up, staying inside, others opting to continue their vacation, making the most of the time they have left before Barry makes landfall. Reporting in New Orleans, I'm Chris Welch.
All right, Chris, thank you. Let's get back to our lineup. And picky eaters, that is a struggle for many families, but this response to it, it's raising a lot of questions. A parenting coach is weighing in on some better ways to improve mealtime and other behavior issues.
Sinus Center.
Now to an update on breaking news. We just received these pictures from a massive fire in Tippecanoe County that destroyed several homes. The damage is extensive, and we will get back to that in a moment. Now you're watching the Now Indy on RTV6. Duke Energy says it will build a 1.6 megawatt solar power plant in the Discovery Park District near Purdue University's main campus in West Lafayette. The Tippecanoe County solar power plant will take up about 10 acres. Duke and the Purdue Foundation say the solar power plant will generate enough electricity to power about 240 homes. The plant, with about 7,000 solar panels, will be built this summer and is expected to start providing power later this year. And tomorrow is the day it's officially okay to get out and play in the mud. At least in Fishers it is. Everyone can play in the mud starting Saturday during Mud Day at Cynthia Ann Park. Just think, tons of soil combined with thousands of gallons of water. And you get this. Families are invited to have fun in the giant mud pit from 11 to 4. Parents and guardians must sign a waiver and get a wristband for children to participate. It's all free.
Let's start the Now Newsfeed. Johnson & Johnson is preparing to test an experimental HIV vaccine. This is a big step towards the first possible immunization of the virus. 3,800 people in the United States and Europe will be part of this test. Google employees listen to users through its Google Assistant software, but the company's not apologizing for it. Google said in a blog that it posted today that it does take the precautions to protect user identities and information. You can own the Wilkes family home from the movie Gone with the Wind. Look at this place, the Georgia home. It's on the auction block right now. Bidding goes until July 25th. Asking price is $1 million. Take a look at this video here. It is sparking some controversy after it was posted to Twitter. A lot of conversations about parenting and picky eaters. What it is a toddler refusing a spoonful of food, and you see that part right there? The man pretends the stuffed Mickey Mouse is doing the same thing, just punches it several times. Now, we blurred the toddler's face, but we can tell you that he did appear scared. Then he ate the food immediately right after. So we talked to a certified parenting coach who believes there was some theatrics involved in the video, yes, but it could still be damaging.
We need to be nurturing that relationship. And when we instead use that relationship to showboat or to play a practical joke or to get some laughs, we're violating the integrity of that relationship.
Now, this coach that we talked to says, bottom line, kids will eat when they're hungry. She says offer them just a variety of healthy foods. And she's seen families improve mealtime and other behavior issues when adults change their behavior towards the child. Now, the video, she also says, can be a real teaching moment for everybody.
I think it's a little troubling how much attention we pay to the way other people handle their families, to the detriment of thinking about in deep ways, how do we treat our own?
Now, the man in the video addressed negative comments saying that his nephew eats normally and is loved by his family. All right, let's get back to our lineup. And teachers already struggle with pay, but now some are saying that promises to forgive their student loans aren't happening either.
It's pretty devastating because there's nothing that I can do to alleviate that debt.
That teacher is among those who are now suing how they claim the education department is mishandling their loans.
Only on RTV6 News.
A group of teachers are suing Education Secretary Betsy DeVos. They claim that her agency broke a promise which left hundreds of teachers in a mountain of debt. Corey Rangel spoke with teachers who are now suing.
Kelly Finlaw is a middle school art teacher. She is spending part of her summer break drawing up plans to expose the education department over a program that denies 99% of applicants, including her.
They wanted to say, here's this wonderful thing we're going to do for you, and then make it impossible for people to obtain this.
Kelly thought she qualified for a government program that forgives student loans for people who make their payments for 10 years and work in public service jobs, which includes teaching. But after making her payments on time for 10 years, Kelly says she found out she did not qualify because her loan provider misdirected her into getting a wrong type of loan.
There's just one little loophole here and there, and then all of the history of the past 10 years, 12 years now, has been erased, and I start over.
Instead of having her remaining student loan debt wiped clean as promised, she is now stuck with $88,000 she did not plan for.
It's pretty devastating because there's nothing that I can do to alleviate that debt.
Kelly just joined a new lawsuit which claims the education department ignored complaints about loan services, providing inaccurate information and making administrative mistakes. The education department's own numbers show only about 1% of people who apply for loan forgiveness get approved, something the head of the American Federation of Teachers calls outrageous.
The fact that they do not want to implement it means and shows that the people who they are serving is the predatory loan services.
In a statement, the Education Department says it does not comment on pending litigation, but adds the department is faithfully administering the complex program Congress passed. In Washington, D.C., I'm Corey Rangel reporting.
Corey, thank you. And Democratic presidential candidate Kamala Harris wants to end the nationwide backlog of untested rape kits. If she's elected, Harris is proposing dedicating $1 billion to have all kits tested within 4 years. She didn't say how she plans to pay for it. The nonprofit End the Backlog estimates there are more than 250,000 untested rape kits nationwide, partly because of a lack of funding and investigation policies. It does cost around $1,000 to test each one. Now, End the Backlog wants to pass reform in all states. Alaska is the latest to sign a law committing to testing all kits. More than 30 states are testing or have already made it through all their backlog. The group also wants states to have tracking systems and keep survivors better informed on where things stand with their kits. And the backlog says it's important to test all kits because it sends the right message to not only survivors but also offenders, and it can identify serial rapists and help solve other crimes.
And back to our breaking news. We have just received pictures from a huge fire in Tippecanoe County that destroyed several homes. You can see the damage is extensive. We are still working to learn the cause of the fire and if there are any injuries. We will have the very latest coming up on the news at 6.
We are getting ready to step right into the weekend and checking out that view of the White River State Park area there between the zoo and the NCAA Hall of Fame. And as we get ready for the weekend, we've got temperatures that are going to get a little bit warmer out there right now. This is where we should be in the middle 80s, 85 in downtown. It's 82 in Columbus and Tipton. You're coming in at 83 degrees. Tonight will be comfortable once again as we'll keep those skies clear. 62 in the city. I think some areas will actually start off your Saturday in the upper 50s, so very pleasant out there tonight. And maybe this weekend you need to put that sprinkler out on the lawn here because we are talking about dry weather, just an isolated chance for a shower on Sunday. It's not until Tuesday of next week that we get into some better rain chances coming our way. So as we take a look at your Saturday planning forecast, lots of sunshine here. Going to need the sunscreen, the sunglasses for sure, as those temperatures will make their way to around 90 for that afternoon high. So it gets a little bit warmer here, 90 for you in Lafayette, 89 tomorrow afternoon in Greenwood, and we'll call for an afternoon high of 89 in Bloomington. On Sunday, we start off with sunshine. We get into the afternoon. That's where we've got that chance for an isolated shower as those temperatures again will get back around 90 degrees with that heat index pushing 100 in some spots. Next 4 days of your forecast will stay in the 90s on Monday. There's that better chance for some rain. Actually, the remnants of what's Tropical Storm Barry right now coming our way for the middle of next week. Chris?
Let's start the Now News feed. Two big car makers are working together to go electric and automated. Ford and Volkswagen say they're expanding their partnership to include electric cars, and they'll be working with the company to add self-driving technology as well. A new study showing just how dangerous secondhand smoke can be. The CDC says 20% of non-smoking U.S. workers were exposed to secondhand smoke. 41,000 adult non-smoking deaths were linked to secondhand smoke as well. Well, even if you're at a healthy weight, there's a new study saying that you should think about cutting calories. The study in the Lancet Diabetes and Endocrinology says that cutting 300 calories from your daily diet can reduce your risk for diabetes or heart disease. Universal Security Instruments is recalling 180,000 smoke detectors. The company says a faulty switch can lead to the alarm not working. There have been more than 130 reports of this happening. The alarms were sold online and in stores from July of 2015 to December of 2016. Keeping kids off the streets is a challenge in many communities, but Chris Welch found a California man who believes the solution rests on two wheels.
Howard Cato is loading up the vans to give this group of kids something new.
I have eye protection, just in case.
And where they're going...
All right, you guys ready?
They just might need it.
There's a skate park and jump parks.
A jump park for BMX bikes.
BMX, bicycle motocross. So we race bikes. What did I tell you guys when you're going over the jumps? Lean back, but what do you do with your front wheel? You lift up a little bit and push. Get that weight, arms and legs at the same time.
For Cato, BMX was a thrill.
Oh, man, it's the adrenaline, man.
And a hobby that kept him off the streets.
Let's go.
That is, until his father died.
I stopped racing BMX in the streets. I found the streets. So going out there on the streets, man, and leaving the bikes, and I ended up getting shot several times and paralyzed. How many fingers I have?
But he found his way back and now wants to make sure kids in his hometown of Oakland have a chance to learn the skill that set him on the right track. He started Flood the Streets with bikes, and so far, he's raised $38,000 to give bikes to kids who don't have one.
To give them a reward. So I think if you reward a kid with a bike, man, they'll go away. They'll go a long way with it, especially if they had to earn it.
My son, it teaches him a lot of, of never give up. You fall, but you get up and you push yourself and you keep going.
Go a little higher. I fell on plenty of times, and it's something that's going to happen. I mean,
and just the perseverance of just not giving up on yourself.
It's okay for a kid to fall and get and cry and get up. Come on, loosen up. It's not nothing funny. It's just loosening up. Let's go.
Reporting in Oakland, California, I'm Chris Welch.
Great stuff, Chris. Thank you. And next on our lineup, calls for safe places for people to use drugs like meth and heroin are growing. We're taking a look into the debate about allowing supervised injection sites.